good evening to everybody here who's looking forward to something on listening skills. Is everyone looking forward to it? All right, wonderful. So what we are going to do today is I have a quick session with you, and I want all of you to be my friends for the session, okay? So we are all going to talk to each other. We are all going to learn from each other, all right? Can I have a thumbs up, a virtual hand of thumbs up, or your actual thumbs up? Okay, so we are all going to talk and we are all going to learn from each other today, all right? Okay, so quickly, anyone, what do you think is listening skills? What do you think you need to have as a skill when you say listening skills? And what's so great about it? Anybody?
We have to answer in chat.
Yes. Go ahead, unmute yourself and speak. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So, like, listening skill is like a skill and talent. Like, you can listen it and you can evaluate it like very properly and ask question according to it. And this shows your memory and how does your memory like it is very like difficult. Like it is very like the type you can understand everything in a one go like that.
Okay, fine. That's also correct. That's a good way also to put it across. Well said. How many of you have brothers and sisters here? Can you put your hands up?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Many of you. Okay. So for those of you who have brothers and sisters at home, when you have your fighting boxing matches with your own brothers and sisters, when you're actually fighting with them on some things, tell me how many times have you heard this? You are not listening.
Every time.
Listen to me. You're not listening to me. Have you all heard this? Yes. Has anybody heard this? You're not listening to me. Hear me out. You're not listening to me, right? It happens in all the fights that you have with your brothers and sisters. Yes, I can see a lot of yeses in the comments. So this is a common issue. The common issue is that everyone is not a great listener. When someone wants to say something, we want to say something back and we want to say something more than what was being told to us, right? So listening skills are a set of skills which are extremely important in your life ahead. All right. So I want you all to remember that it's not only important what you talk, what you would learn in a Toastmasters forum or in your Gathers Club forum, but it's also important to listen to someone. Okay. Sometimes if you don't listen to a whole message, you may get it completely wrong. Okay. So it's very important to be attentive and listen. So what I'm going to quickly show you right now, MC, if you could just confirm if you can see the screen right now. Can you see the screen?
No. Not yet. Yeah, now we can see the screen.
You can. Wonderful. Okay. So if you can see on the screen what exactly is written is anybody. Is there anyone in the audience who this out for us? I can
Art
see.
of listening.
Yes. Could you please go ahead and read this out for us? What's written? What is the art of listening? What did I say?
Listening is the art of truly hearing what a person is trying to say, not just what is said. The best listeners are people that hear the words and see the body language so they capture the whole message.
Absolutely. Absolutely right. So do you all agree with this? Do you all agree with this? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sure.
Agree with the message?
Yes, sure.
yes,
Absolutely right. So it's when you are listening to someone, and there's a difference between listening and hearing. When you're truly hearing to someone, it's when you're listening to what a person is trying to say, exactly what is the message behind, and not what is just being spoken by the words, right? So it could be what was spoken, it could be hand gestures, how the hand was used, it could be the facial expressions, it could be the body language. Everything together makes up communication, right? That's what we've all learned. And in listening skills, you need to not just listen to the voice, but you need to listen to the whole body language also that comes along with the voice. Okay. So that's what this slide is all about. Now, if I have to go further, the question is, why do we need listening skills? Okay. Point number one, when you communicate with somebody, you're having a dialogue, right? So you're listening and you're talking. You're listening and you're talking. So it's important to have a dialogue of communication with someone. When you speak, you should be sure you heard it right. Correct? So whenever you have dialogues, it's important to have good listening skills in relationships. Now imagine that you are a person who does not listen at home to your, let's say, to your brother or sister, but you just do things your way, and things are not very great at home because you're not listening. It'll strain your relationship with your family, right? So if someone in your house says, I think this is the right way to do it, let's say your parents say that, I feel this is the right way to do it. They have the experience. Maybe they are right. If you listen to it, maybe you'll do it the right way. Correct? But if you don't listen, you shut down, then you'll never know what was the right way and you'll make mistakes, right? So that's one way of looking at it. So it will help your relationships with your parents, right? When you listen to them. It also builds a lot of trust and understanding in relationships when you are able to listen as much as you talk. Okay. So there is a myth that says that communication is about how you speak, how you communicate, how your body language is. Well, it's also about how much you listen. It's very important in communication. Is there anyone here in this room, I would like to know, who is, let's say, a team captain or a house captain in your school, or any captain? Are you leading anything, or let's say a sports team? Anyone here who's leading something? Let's say a class monitor, maybe? Anybody? Okay, no problem. Is there anyone who would like to become a leader?
Me, sir. I would like to become a leader. I was a leader in class, but what happened? They changed it to someone, then again changed it. That was like 2 or 3 years ago. Then lockdown, then everything went online, and there was no need of any leader. So yes, I was a leader 2 or 3 times.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. So you've
And I
been
would like to become a leader in like future
very good,
classes.
very good, very good, good. I also saw a message from someone who said I was a sports captain. Great. So in leadership, tell me something. Now you're a leader, right? Now you've been a leader, both of you. As a leader, can you go ahead without listening from your team members?
No,
Is
sir.
it possible? No, it's not. Because even as a class monitor, let's say you're a class monitor, you listen to everyone in the class and you communicate to the teacher. As a sports captain, let's say you're the captain of your cricket team, of your school, you have to listen to your players. If your player says, let's put a fielder on mid-on, you should listen to it, because maybe the catch should go to the mid-on position, right? So you have to be attentive. You have to listen as a leader. And one of the most important skills of a leader is listening. In my ex-workplace where I would work, my boss, he was a man of few words. He used to say, boss, you don't talk much. He used to say, I listen much. So his way of doing things was that when we would go with the problem, we would say, boss, this is the problem. He would say, tell me more. Then we would talk about it. And then he would say, tell me more. And I would think, why is he asking me to talk so much, right? So I would go on talking about everything. Then he would ask me more questions. I would go on talking and talking and talking. And then he would just say 2 sentences. And believe me, those 2 sentences were the solution to the problem we were all looking for. Now, how did he get the answers? He was patient, right? He
By
listened.
listening.
Absolutely right. By listening. He listened to everything. He asked me questions. He asked me the right questions. I gave him the right information. He listened. Yes, he was patient. So it's very important to be a good listener, because we all look up to him. Whenever we need an issue, whenever we have an issue, whenever we need a solution to a problem, we look up to him as the boss, as a leader, because he's a good listener. He listens to everything and he just says what's right. All right. So that's what listening is all about. It's very important to be a good listener in life. And you know what happens with inattentive listening? When you're not listening to someone carefully, let me show you how it looks. Have you been in situations like this? How many of you have been in situations like this? Can you see this man who's holding his forehead? Can you see the screen, by the way? You can?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
It's visible
So
now.
can you see this man who's holding his forehead and trying to explain to someone? And the reason he is in this situation, because he feels, you're not listening to me. Listen to me, right? So that's something we always hear in our life. Everyone feels at some point or the other that the other person is not listening to him. All right. So we don't want to be this, we don't want to be a part of the problem. We want to be good listeners. Okay. So that's what the screen is about. Now, the question is, how do you be a good listener? Okay. Now, point number one is that you need to understand that there's a big difference between hearing and listening. Okay. So hearing is when you hear someone, but listening is when you process what was being spoken. You think about what was being spoken. You analyze what was being spoken, and then you say what is required after that. All right. So it's not just about getting it in here and out from here. That's hearing. But you want to listen because you get it in, process it, use your mind, and then you speak. All right. So it's important to be a good listener and not a good hearer. All right. So that's what is the difference between that. Second important part to be a good listener. Remember what did I say about this? Who remembers? I showed you this gesture sometime back. Hand gestures, right? These are hand gestures, right?
Yes, yes. Hand
So
gestures.
it's important to notice the gestures of someone who's speaking to you. All right. From the body language, the hand gestures, the facial expressions, the body movements, you can understand a lot more than just trying to pay attention to what was being spoken. Okay. Now just imagine, I tell you, I'm happy today. I'm very happy.
That means you're not happy. You got into something.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
but you are just saying oh yeah, he's happy, to know that yes, he's happy, he's doing his work, like that. You're trying to say that to know someone, but you're from inside, you're not really happy. Your
Exactly.
face,
So just
you're like,
imagine, had you gone with what I spoke, what did I speak? I spoke that I'm happy. Just imagine you judged me on that. You got me wrong, right? Because my body language says something completely else. So you need to judge me by my body language and not just what I speak. Okay, that's very important. Also, the eye contact. Now, when someone speaks to you and looks into your eyes and speak, usually the person is saying exactly the truth, exactly what it is. So it's important to notice these gestures. If someone looks away and speaks to you, you know that there could be something not right. Okay, so you have to kind of understand all these things as a good listener, the body language, the way things are being spoken, the tempo at which the speech was, or rather someone spoke to you. That's how you understand things and you become a good listener at that. Okay. It's also very important to ask the right questions. Yes, you're right, Rumesa. It's body language also is very important. What I was saying was it's also important to ask the right questions. Now, if someone speaks to me about, let's say, his life. He speaks to me about how much he misses his brother or sister, right? Maybe my question should be, so where is your brother studying? Is your brother studying in Kuwait or in some other country? What are your brother's tastes? Does he like sports? So what happens when I ask these questions? The other person feels that I'm interested in what he's talking about, right? So which means what? Which means I listened to him. I listened to what he spoke about his brother. So I was interested in what he was speaking, and that's why I asked the right questions. That's one part of it. The second part of it is paraphrasing. So when someone tells you that this is the situation, let's say someone's car was not working for any reason, okay? So the person says that this was the issue. I put the car in the ignition. I tried to switch it on, but the motor wouldn't work and the car didn't start, and that's why I was late to work, for example. So you can paraphrase that. You can say, okay, so basically, in summary, you're saying that your car was not functioning and hence you got late to work. correct? So in a nutshell, I just paraphrased what was being spoken. Okay. So that's also a very important part of listening skills, where you repeat what was being done, where you paraphrase and you summarize what was being spoken. Okay. One important thing I want you all to know is in what you should not do as a good listener. What you should not do is you should not talk too much, because when we talk too much, then we miss out on the listening part. Okay. So as much as you like to talk, you should reduce that and also focus on listening as much as you talk. Okay. The other part of it is, if you are patient, it's good. But if you jump to conclusions, that's a problem, right? So if a person is saying something in 2 or 3 words and you jump and you say, no, no, it's not like that. The person is saying, listen, let me complete what I'm saying. Listen to me. It's only then that you understand the true message of what was being spoken, right? So very important. Do not interrupt someone and do not jump to conclusions. Listen to everything. Be patient. Okay. This is what I had to speak to you all about being patient. Now, before I sign out, I would like 2 of you at least to tell me, what is it that you're going to change about your listening skills, or what will you try to incorporate in your life so that you will improve as a good listener? Anybody who would like to speak? Any,
May I?
please go ahead.
So the two things what I'm gonna change is what you told is that I would not talk too much. I listen, but I talk too much. So everyone says me you talk too much. You just you're like a lecturer or something like that. So everyone says me like that. So what I'm gonna improve is I'm not gonna talk too much, and yes, that's the one main basic thing which I'm gonna improve, that what I learned from you, thanks to you.
Very good. I like what you learned, and I'm glad that you understood that that's the right way, and I wish you all the best. And then when it's your turn, speak whatever is right. Thank you so much. Back to you, Master of Ceremonies Zaid. Thank you for having me here. It was a pleasure being with you. All the best.